Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Alexander Filyuta. As you already know, I'm running this company of Vocal Point, which is based in Berlin, in Germany, where I'm residing over 20 years. We are providing a full range of classical LSP services, and currently we are focusing on remote interpreting solutions. Due to the current pandemic situation, it is very actual and very popular, and there is a high demand for solutions of such a kind. As well, we developing visualization solutions, which is basically how you can, as an example, how you can augment text-to-speech presentation in a way that people with disabilities, people with impaired hearing or sight, could be able to watch and to hear the content which is presented on stage. I personally also work as a fundraising consultant in the public sector area in Germany, in Berlin, for companies and event organizers. And in this case, the main focus also lies on providing multilingual solutions. The actual focus of this presentation is how to develop approaches for generating translatable content, to create translatable content in capacity as a translation company. So not only to be just language service provider, but how to be a language service buyer in a way, yeah, to change the perspective, to change the side, so to speak. And my approach is to, I name it, to step across the border and to find your niche. So, yes, it is a cross-sector approach to find a niche in the language service industry. Who could be a target audience for these presentations? So first of all, it is primarily aimed at people who want to find new business potentials in their companies and to discover new business areas, new business fields. Yes, first of all, probably these are company founders, business development directors, also sales and marketing departments like customer acquisition teams, and any kind of business ideas innovators in this world. So how to step across the border? What do I mean by that? I think currently the language industry is evolving in a way that allows for an absolutely new levels of complexity. For example, overlapping or crossing different business fields became possible, to create complementary solutions for combined services became possible. What could be combined services? Let's take the translation and take the visualization, take text, speech-to-text solutions. So to get this perspective of a language service provider, you could look at a technical level, for example, logistical level of accessibility, which I mentioned already before, and visualization level. And as I also mentioned before, the starting point could be to try to have a look beyond your actual field of activity, translation, interpreting, and so on. So, for example, yes. So basically, any kind of industry or activity where language as a medium is important could be the field where, okay, I'll start it other way around maybe. Sorry. So I'll start it with my own example, actually. That's the best. So what happened to me, so how I came to this idea at all, I was for a long time involved in organizing events of any kind, mostly in the cultural, in the literary area, and where at a certain point a demand for multilingual solutions emerged, like we needed to translate people from other countries. So basically same thing which happens to UTIC every time. And at a certain point, I understood that there is a certain demand on the city level, on the state city level, sorry, Berlin in Germany, for services of such kind. I applied for funding. I received that funding, and I was able to invite non-German speaking participants for events and to acquire as well and to afford a translation for that purposes. So what happened basically, after that, I realized as a language service provider, I have the best access to this area of event organizing where language is the main medium, so to speak, where I could provide simultaneous interpreting solutions or written translations, be it literary text, be it text on the stage. And what I realized by that time was that, okay, so you have a chance, so other way around, the situation could become that you are basically running two businesses, which is not the aim of this approach. So it is not the aim to be an organizer of events, full-scale organizers, and a language service provider at the same time. Instead of that, when you focus on your core activity as language services, and at the same time try to find a so-named door opener or kind of a turning point in this other kind of activity by outsourcing activities which are not important, not crucial for your core activity. Like if you have to organize events, you can outsource bookkeeping, on-site personnel, technical equipment, logistics and management, everything like that can be outsourced. And the main point, the main focus should become to generate a translatable content. And as well, in my current situation, to provide the services for accessibility. So one model could be following. Try to find an area in which you can generate expertise in order to generate content and materials. Then try to approach entities like charities, foundations, any kind of event organizers, and offer them multilingual support and accessibility solutions, especially for people with visual or hearing impairment. Look for financing or public funding for your type of activity and use this approach as a translation company, and then create content that is applicable for translation services and try to add sign language as well and accessibility services for the audience. It also can improve your brand recognition and also improve the quality of your services. So, and you can, in these terms, not only always cross the line, so to speak, and acquire additional competences in different industry or business, but also deepen and sharpen your own profile. So the possibility could also be that you don't acquire an additional business or don't run two businesses, so to speak, but just compile an offer for businesses of such kind which you provide only as a language service provider. And what is also very important is to create your ideal customer profile on the basis of what you know and do well. So, and I mentioned it already before, it is a concept of a door opener, how we understand that. So the main niche of Vocal Point of our company is currently providing language services that deal with cultural content in combination with improved accessibility once, especially in the event industry and on the local market. That's what we do. The local market is Berlin, Germany. Our company now tries to reshape its niche model to be able to expand its services beyond cultural scene and the local market, while still concentrating its core activities around the event industry as a door opener. So what does that mean? Any kind of events are happening all over the world, every week, basically. Yeah, the pattern of the event organizing patterns are more or less or very often similar. So you need a stage, you need an audience, you need a language, and in many cases, as well as in our case, we need multilingual solution to provide the service. So conferences like UTIC are by its nature are multilingual. Yes, at least German, Ukrainian, at least Ukrainian, English, and Russian languages as standard. But take a conference for agricultural producers somewhere who can only speak their own language, or like name it, say in Germany, for example. So where you can, of course, nowadays organize an English-speaking support, but it's a real difficulty to organize language support in Ukrainian, in Russian, in Spanish, or any other language where agricultural production is very important. So what we started, we established a model for the cultural industry, and we started to go beyond that industry, started to approach industries like I said, agricultural, logistic industries, any kind of industries where language, as I said, by organizing conferences, plays a crucial role as a medium. So also what could be important is to contact different industries via departments and services areas you know best, and try to find a common denominator. As well, you can so it's also possible to write blog posts and to make a classical marketing work in this sense, to attend events in the area you want to offer solutions for. It's also very important. And to establish a reputation in circles where your services might be important. That's very important too. And another approach might be to buy a company in your field of expertise. So, for example, you can buy a small legal company or buy a share in a small legal company in order to get access to the personnel, so to the educated personnel. It shouldn't be highly paid lawyers. It might be anybody who understands how legal services are functioning. And so the next step would be to try to build a package which you can offer in an international way, so in a way that you can offer it somewhere where other languages are on demand, important, and to yes to gain this special knowledge in the legal area based on the knowledge you can get from inside of such a new company. And so what basically can happen in that case, you receive the advantage of the specific human resource expertise in your branch, and you will be able possibly to generate the translatable content from inside this company for international legal business, for example. Yes, I'm done by this point, and so thank you very much. If you have any questions, yes, I'm listening.
Thank you very much, Alexander. It was really very interesting for me. It was interesting just because I'm considering moving in the very wide direction of development of the company. And we are doing a lot. So we are also adding this accessibility services, which is not very easy here. And that's why I have why. There are no enough awareness of the necessity. So though it's required by legislation, but like nobody cares. And there are actually no enough people who are probably trained. So we had to organize a school or for example, for audio description. And it's though now we have resources, it's really very difficult to find the proper application of these resources. But anyway, we are moving in this direction, and I really heard a lot of useful things from your presentation that we can also consider probably for ourselves. And if you don't mind, I'll contact you later to learn more.
Of course, with pleasure.
Thank you, Alexander. We have a question that you are so closely connected to organization of events, and how did you make some adjustments probably due to current situation, and do you see probably further development of this situation as a risk or a challenge or opportunity? So how do you think your business will develop in this direction of event organization, considering all these limitations of current time?
Yes, thank you, Tatiana. I definitely consider this time as a game changer time, which brings huge opportunities for any kind of translation company, let's say, who is a little bit who has technical knowledge, who wants to acquire technical knowledge, because I can tell you what happens now on our market here. So everybody went online, yes, including event organizations. And by the way, UTIC is a perfect example of the right of developing your base knowledge and your competencies in absolutely right directions. It's perfect organization. I'm very impressed, I have to say. So anyway, what we are trying to establish now in Berlin is we are using, so we're assuming that the situation on site will get easier soon, and audience will be able physically to participate events again. But all the sideline services, all the services like translation, interpreting, visual representation, accessibility services could be organized mostly in a digital manner, meaning we try to provide solutions for interpreting services basically generally on a digital basis. So no more booths, no more interpreters on site, only the management team, only the equipment you name it. There are a lot of commercial providers of services for remote interpreting in the world nowadays. And referring to accessibility, we are also providing equipment for people with impaired hearing, like so-named induction loops, and thinking of visualizing content in a general way by means of beaming the content on screens, on monitors, or on a big screen behind the audience. So it sounds actually kind of trivial, possibly, because you say, well, what's the sense? Everybody's doing that, but from the point of view of language service provider, it's absolutely not clear that many people out there have absolutely no clue about all that solutions. And that's why I'm saying it's very huge, very good time for new opportunities. It's a game changer time.
Thank you very much, Alexander. And we have another question. Whether so this content creation and all other services that you provide actually require well-trained people, specially trained people. Is it an easy task for you to find the resources, to find people for this process?
It is very interesting. So the core activity is again evolving around language services, because we are language service providers by nature, so by our main quality or activity. And as soon as you are able to establish a reliable model for providing, so for securing this language service provision, actually any technically educated person, so on a very basic level, who can run basic event organization equipment, could be involved. So certain onboarding is definitely also desirable, short onboarding phase. But I think that as well as you are able to shape that model for core activity for language services, everything else is the matter of tech, and of the general kind of personnel. So, like putting the cables together. So technicians on site is also a very important function, but you can have several helpers who could organize your things where you don't need very special knowledge.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions in the audience or online, Irina? No questions online? Yeah, there are no questions anymore. Yeah. We have one.
Alexander, thank you so much for your interesting presentation. I have probably a difficult question. The question is regarding your suggestion to get some shares of, let's say, a legal company and to learn about this company or about the legal stuff from the inside. Do you then suggest to offer our services to this company, or to just get some knowledge and continue with offering our services to other legal companies? How does it work? Thank you.
Of course, definitely the second one, because the first one would be a classical approach of providing services as a language service provider to any kind of industry. Of course, the advantage or the peculiarity would be to gain this special knowledge on a level which you can afford. So the idea is not to get a full-scale lawyer or attorney or whoever. It's just to understand how, so to what extent your company, translation company, can be able to acquire additional knowledge in a different industry. So in this case, legal matters in order to provide services based on the special knowledge to any company, a legal company, or to be able to create and or to be able um, to make this legal company part of your company for providing services in the written translation area. So I don't know if it was clear enough. So there is a third component as well. It is also very important that you get this door opener to the people in this area, so you can go to fairs, to conferences, and provide your services dealing with languages, with translation for totally different type of audience who are not aware of the translation as a very important part of the activities.
Thank you, Alexander.